We try to use God's name, use it when it's convenient. And so here he's using Jacob's relationship with God to create a covenant that will protect himself. In other words, he knows that Jacob honors God, and he gets him to make a commitment, and he knows he'll keep his commitment. And why is he doing it? To protect himself from a guy who's aligned with God.
Hey, before we jump into the podcast, we want to thank all our donors and supporters who make the Today Count show possible. It's through your generosity that we're able to shape leaders through this content and this podcast. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you find yourself coming across this content. All right, let's get to the podcast.
Everybody, welcome back to the Today Count show. Today we got Winston, we've got Gary, we've got Matt, we've got Jim. And I'll tell you, we are in Genesis 31. Hopefully you've been following along. I can't imagine that you would just jump in at any spot, but maybe you have. And if you have, welcome to chapter 31 of Genesis. Just really quick, Jacob is taken off. He's had enough. He's split. You guys doing all right?
Yeah.
Everybody?
I'm
Gary?
good. Yes, sir.
Good. Business going well?
You know, I'm trying to keep up with my grandkids is really what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Well,
Better.
I understand that 100%. All right, we're in Genesis chapter 31. I'm going to call this the breaking point. It says, now Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying, Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and from what was our father's, he has gained all his wealth. And Jacob saw that Laban did not regard him with favor as before. Let me say that again. And Jacob saw that Laban did not regard him with favor as before. By the way, I'm reading now the ESV, English Standard Version this time. Then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred, and I will be with you. So what's happening here, guys? I think it's about 20 years. The relational environment has turned toxic. Laban's sons are openly resentful, and noticeably, right? And Jacob, as we say it, has read the room correctly. Things are not good, and he doesn't ignore the signs. And according to the author here, Moses, through oral tradition, God steps in and says, it's time to go. It's time to leave.
Good old family dysfunction. Good old family conflict. Nothing like it.
Yeah. Man, family causes a lot of stress, doesn't it? Is it just my family?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm stressed right now.
And the bigger we get, the more blessed we are.
Yeah. It doesn't take much sometimes for a family to go from somewhat
Cordial
to dysfunctional. I don't know that anybody would say their family is normal. My dad always said the only place you'll find normal is the setting on a washing machine. He said you won't find it anywhere
awesome.
else. So
I like that.
yeah.
I did a teaching series way back, couple decades for sure, called the dysfunctions. I think it was something like the world's most dysfunctional family, and it was all based upon the story of Joseph. Boy, there was plenty of content.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice to talk about somebody else's family though, versus if you said, all right, we're gonna take a 7-week series, talk about the Piper family.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That would not be good. That would not be good.
I mean, it just seems like a lot of tension is building up, and it's causing, Jacob to make a decision. Obviously God is telling him to move, but I almost, just think about all the things that have come up to this point, and this is to your point, the breaking point.
Yeah.
Something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Now, Gary, your family's pretty much straight down the middle, perfect in every way.
Yeah, sure. You know, what struck me from this is we do attribute it to family, and I agree it's true, but I've also seen it's really human nature more than just family, because I've seen so many partnerships where people enter into an agreement on the front end where it looks good, and then years go by and more success comes than you expect or something, and all of a sudden you want to go back on the original basis for starting it. And I don't know what it is about time changes our perspective. And here you have two parties who see history very differently.
Yeah.
And it's way more than family. It's every human being.
You know what, Gary, you're right down the middle there on that, because, you know, I know that in what we do, we advise people before they go into business together to draw up their buyout agreement even before they get started. But that's what these guys did. They had a buyout agreement, but they didn't go by it.
They didn't stick to it.
Didn't stick to it. That, to your point. Anyway, verse 4 says, so Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah into the field where his flock was and said to them, let's just pause for a second. I mean, think about that. If you've been with us in this podcast, you know, Rachel and Leah are sisters, and they're both married to Jacob. And that's a whole thing, how that happened, right? And so now they're on the same team, kind of, most of the time. I don't know if that's true either. So he brings them to the field and says, I see that your father does not regard me with favor as he did before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength. Man, do you feel the tension there?
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, your father, yet your father has cheated me and changed. Now I'm thinking about being a daughter, and someone's talking about my dad.
Yeah.
Has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times.
He's very specific.
10 times. A little bit of bitterness.
A little bit. When
Yeah.
you're that specific about negative change, you're bitter about
But
it.
you know what? 1 Corinthians 13 wasn't written yet,
No, it
so
was
he's
not.
he's good,
Yeah.
right? Keep no record of wrongs, right?
He's got all the records.
All the records.
All the receipts right
Yeah,
there.
my wages 10 times, but God did not permit him to harm me. Verse 8, if he said, the spotted shall be your wages, then all the flock bore spotted. And if he said, the striped shall be your wages, then all the flock bore striped. Thus God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. In the breeding season of the flock, I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream that the goats that made it with the flock were striped, spotted, and mottled. I didn't know what mottled was. I had to do a word study
Still
on
don't. Can you tell me?
it. It's kind of a mixture of striped, spotted. It's anything but. It's
Yeah.
just, it's like,
Dapple's another word for
yeah,
that.
it's like modern art where you just take the paint and
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
splotchy,
Yeah.
splash.
something like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to start using modeled in every day of my English.
Hey, Gary, you missed, was it last time?
Chapter 30.
Yeah, chapter 30, when our resident rancher here, Pastor Matt Martin, taught us, because, you know, he's a goat rancher, and taught us about this whole spotted, striped, and
Yeah, that was only the hand of God that could do that. You don't choose.
yeah.
You don't choose by color.
Yeah.
I know personally because there's a certain colored goat I'm trying to produce right now and I cannot. They keep coming out the opposite color or whatever color they choose.
Verse 11 says that God gave Jacob a dream. Have you ever had a dream that you believe God gave you?
I have not.
You have not? I had a Sunday school teacher who told me that an angel visited him. His name was Mr. Eastman. It's pretty interesting too. It was after his mother died. They were farmers. Mother died. I've had some dreams that have shook me, but could I say that, you know, they were directly sent from God? I can't. But I've definitely had some that have caused me pause.
Yeah.
It says, then the angel of the Lord said to me in the dream, Jacob, and I said, here I am. That seems to be a pattern that starts to go, right? And we read further on in the Old Testament. And he said, lift up your eyes and see all the goats that mate with the flock are striped, spotted, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now arise, go out from this land and return to the land of your kindred. Then Rachel and Leah, get this, answered and said to him, is there any portion or inheritance left for us in our father's house?
I don't think the brothers appreciated that statement.
Yeah. And it says, are we not regarded by him as foreigners? So boy, it's spreading, isn't it? For he has sold us, and he has indeed devoured our money.
Wow.
All the wealth that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do. So he meets with his wives in the field. They get, in business, we would call that a guiding coalition. Put together a guiding coalition, gets them all on the same page. He presents evidence of changed treatment, his own faithful service, and God's providential vindication, right?
Yeah.
And and the wives align immediately and pile on.
Well, again, reading through I love how clear it is in the scripture that through the chaos, through the being done wrong, God is still in control.
Mm-hmm.
And we see many times in scripture where people take that into their own hands and try to fix their own issues and work out their own, vindication. But it really brings to light that when we trust that God is in control, truly the scripture, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, do not repay. That we can live in that. We don't have to vindicate ourselves as much as we want to. And we see right here that we see it in chapter 30, then God showed him in the dream. And we see how, and Laban agreed to this because Laban thought he was going to get one over on him because this particular animal wouldn't be worth as much as the solid colored would be. And yet God took that and continued to use it, And so I love how chapter 31 complements what was happening in 30, just to remind us that God is in control. And yes, it's best when we're fully submitted to him, but even in our weaknesses and even in our shortcomings, he still shows up and takes care of us.
I don't know about you guys, but when I'm going through chaos or dysfunction or a battle or tension, it's difficult for me to believe that God is in that. Right. I mean, here we see this is a family feud going on, and yet God is in this as he would be like receiving worship at a worship service. He's like, and it kind of brings me back to a statement that I say often, that I try to believe often, but sometimes my emotions don't always align to it, that God's big enough to be small enough to care about us.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this isn't pretty. It's not pretty, but God hasn't removed himself from it.
Yeah, the part where it says, where God says, I've seen all that Laban has done to you, I'd be like, really?
Yeah.
You've been watching?
You've been watching the whole time.
That's cool. All right. It's been years, God. What do you want me to do with that statement? Like,
Yeah. So where did that help me? Were you eating popcorn watching?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Seeing how this plays out. What
Okay.
are we doing? That's good.
Okay. Verse 17 says, so Jacob arose and set his sons and his wives on camels.
First class.
Yeah. It's funny, just the wording of things, right? I mean, he literally didn't pick his sons and his wife. Anyway, verse 18, he drove away all his livestock, all his property that he had gained, the livestock in his possession that he had acquired in Padam Aram to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. He drove away, meaning what would you say that? He corralled, herded. Yeah.
Herded them.
Brought with them, right?
Yeah.
Because ESV is going to be a literal attempt of translation. So it doesn't always roll off our tongues like the NLT might. Laban had gone to share his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's household god.
He wasn't over it.
Mm-mm-mm.
It doesn't tell us what Jacob said to her in the field when she asked, but she went ahead and took it on herself.
Yeah, she took it on herself
to get some inheritance.
Well, that's exactly right. Because if you possessed these gods, it was a sign of inheritant right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like she went in there because she thought it was the coolest
No.
display for her new tent. But it was almost
Wasn't decor.
Yeah, it was almost a way of evidence that she deserves whatever they had that they took. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If she's in possession of the gods, and then she would naturally be in possession of some of her father's materials.
Right.
All right. So That's the key there. And so verse 20, and Jacob tricked, shocker.
Wow, really?
Goes all the way back to Abraham, right? And Jacob tricked Laban, the Aramean, by not telling him that he intended to flee. We'll talk about that. Was that good strategy? Was that bad? What was that? He fled with all that he had and arose and crossed the Euphrates and set his face toward the hill of Gilead.
What's the saying? Everything that is said needs to be true, but
Not everything
that's
true
needs to be
is
said.
or is right.
Yeah.
Jacob didn't necessarily say what was true.
I mean, did he owe a goodbye?
He may be thinking, Laban, I was surprised when I woke up the morning after my wedding night.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you be surprised when you wake up in the morning. So,
Yeah.
Gary, would you have told him? Would you told him you were leaving, Gary?
Yeah, I wondered whether God gave him any indication of how he should do this. It doesn't say.
Yeah, good point. It doesn't say.
He just told him to leave. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm being treated the way he was. I might not have told him either because he didn't trust him.
Especially once his wives aligned the way they did. I think we're going to see later that he was no longer afraid of Laban. I think we're going to see that later.
Yeah.
But why hassle it?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Get the heck out of Dodge.
You know, why kick the ant bed?
Especially if God told you to. And to Gary's point, if God didn't tell you how, he just said go, then.
Well, you know, at some point, God said he leads us in Colossians. He talks about leading us through wisdom. And Laban's character here is, even at the end of this story, he says, everything you've got, Abraham or Jacob, is mine, even though it's not. And so if he'd have told him up front, he would have claimed it was his to begin with. So you for sure would have entered into a war right then, probably. So I don't know. I don't know if it's as clear cut as a deception. It's although the word says he deceived him.
But in this context,
It may have been wise.
Is that wrong? Yeah, it may have been shrewd maybe, right? Verse 22, when it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob had fled, he took his kinsmen with him and pursued him for 7 days and followed close after him into the hill country of Gilead. But God came to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream by night and said to him, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his kinsmen camped in the hill country of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, what have you done that you have tricked me and driven away my daughters like captives of the sword? Jim's commentary, after all I've done for you. Verse 27. Why did you flee secretly and trick me and did not tell me, so that I might have sent you away with mirth and songs, with tambourine and lyre? And why did you not permit me to kiss my sons and my daughters farewell?
Let's throw some guilt in there. I like it.
Yeah. Now you have done foolishly. It is in my power to do you harm, but the God
guilt, and now we're going to threaten.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. I don't really get that, because he already did.
He said, I'm going to say it, and then your God told me not to say what I did say to you.
Yeah, I mean,
but just in case you was wondering what I was going to say, that is what I was going to say to you.
Great leaders don't ignore their past. They learn from it. Every decision you've made, every mistake, every win, every failure, it's all shaping the leader you're becoming. In Story, the art of learning from your past, you'll discover how to turn experience into wisdom, setbacks into strategy, and pain into purpose. This isn't just a book about reflection, it's a playbook for growth. If you want to lead with clarity, humility, and confidence, Your story matters. Learn from it. Grab your copy of Story, The Art of Learning from Your Past, where books are sold.
Is there any indication of the stories about Laban that he is a person of virtue? I mean, I think about every story we saw. Abraham gave him a choice of what land to take, and he took the best. Abraham rescued him from being captured, and then he lives in Sodom and Gomorrah. Is there anything about this guy that shows any virtue? I couldn't think of anything.
The only thing I remember is him meeting Jacob at the well and bringing him back to meet the family. That was it, right? I think that's all I remember. But I don't know that I'd call that a good deed.
I think I'm not going to jump ahead and read it, but the only good thing we're going to see out of Laban pretty much in this story is the last phrase of this chapter.
Maybe.
So, but I'll just
I know what you're talking about.
Just hang on with bated breath until we get there.
Yeah. But we're doing pretty good, right? Verse 30. And now you have gone away because you long greatly for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods? Okay, here we go. You guys ready? Got your seatbelts on for this? Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid. He's answering two questions. Answer to the first question. Because I was afraid, for I thought that you would take your daughters from me by force. All right, so that's why he snuck out. Okay? But then we come to the gods thing. Anyone with whom you find your God shall not live in the. So obviously he did not know that his favorite wife.
Imagine somebody in this family lying to another family member. Imagine that.
I can't believe that.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Shall not live in the presence of our kinsmen. Point out what I have with me. Oh, wait. Yeah. Point out what I have with me and take it. Now, Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and in the tent of the two female servants, but he did not find them. And he went out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now, Rachel had taken the household gods and put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. Laban felt all about the tent, but did not find them. And she said,
Hold on.
Okay.
I have a question.
Just one?
I'm raising my hand.
He's raising it. Matt's raising his hand. So we pause and we acknowledge the senior statesman.
Yes. She put them inside her camel's saddle.
Right.
Like there's a saddle for camels?
Yeah. You haven't seen pictures?
No, I'm going to have to go look that up. Doesn't look like a Western saddle, I assume,
Yeah.
for a horse.
Obviously, they've been using these for travel.
This one's got the big handles on them, though?
I don't think so.
Oh, never mind. Anyway. Keep going.
I think they came along later. Okay. All right. So verse 35, and she said to her father, let not my Lord be angry that I cannot rise before you, for the way of women is upon me. So he searched, but did not find the household gods. All right. So quick zoom here. Laban mobilizes quickly, puts force together, finds them. God restrains him from whatever he was going to say that he didn't say. Laban's speech is manipulative. Talks about missing a farewell party. That's baloney. We know that kind of like
that
what
would
Gary,
not have played out that way.
Yeah, kind of like what Gary was saying. When has he ever done anything that would cause us to believe him? Essentially, is what you said, Gary.
It might have been an interesting party, though.
Interesting party. You're curious, aren't you, Winston?
I mean, I'm just the party with Leia and that party didn't turn out very well. So, what kind of party would?
Yeah, and then Jacob's death sentence declaration over the thief is dramatic irony, right? He doesn't know it's his beloved Rachel. And then, of course, Rachel is going through her menstrual cycle and uses that to hide the gods. A lot going on there. I mean, so they're hustling through the tents. And again, these aren't camping tents.
No.
It took a while, to set up.
This isn't a two-man tent.
Yeah.
That they're.
Yet she's still on a camel.
Well, it has a saddle. It's comfortable.
I mean, that's weird, right? So the tents, I don't know how long they took to set up, but they took the better part of a day, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
And she's sitting on a camel. Well, I guess it kind of implies that maybe she sees them coming
Yeah.
and thinks that's the best hiding place.
Yeah.
And then for some reason says, "Look at me, Daddy. I know how to ride a camel. I'm going to get in the top of camel." I don't know. Weird. All right. So now we go into Jacob's defense of his last 20 years. That starts in verse 36. So now they're arguing, really, right? Nobody's listening and everyone's talking.
Jacob's angry and
Yeah.
basically rebukes him.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Like, and you can imagine, I mean, he's changed his wages 10 times. He gave him the wrong girl. He's all of these things. He's like, what is my crime is what the NIV says.
Yeah, he's had it.
Yeah. He's just, how have I wronged you that you hunt through all of my, like all of the other things you've said and done along the way. And now all of a sudden you're just going to come rummage through my things and try to find another way to accuse me of something I have not done.
I think the other thing that you see happening here, even though it doesn't say it, but if you read between the lines, once you start obeying God, you will grow in courage.
Yeah.
I see him growing in his courage.
And he had the integrity of the 20 years. He knew his integrity outweighed any accusation. And that's tough. That's tough. And he'd reached a boiling point with this. So
I like how God also affirmed his identity by saying, "Remember me, you and I met at Bethel."
yeah, that's good.
Right. This is the same speaking to you. I mean, I need God to do that for me. I need God to remind me where he's been with me, where he's walked with me, particularly when I'm facing something.
All I can think about is Jacob just wanting to elbow Laban like Wemby did. Timberwolves. No. Anybody?
No.
That's all I'm.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I just see Jacob just angry.
He's just tired of being boxed out like that.
Just tired of being beaten up by Laban, man.
He said, I'm gonna put an elbow through the throat.
And it's kind of like a pie situation. He's had enough.
Not enough.
Yeah. Did you watch? Do you know who Popeye is, Winston?
Popeye?
Yeah,
Popeye the Sailor Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Popeye the Sailor Man.
Spinner Man.
Yeah.
Look at that. We just did
The spinach. Jacob's not eating any spinach here, but
I'm just old enough to know Popeye.
okay. Yeah. It says, then Jacob became angry and berated Laban. Interesting. Jacob said, he's not arguing now. When you think of berated,
he's yelling. He's yelling.
Yelling. All right.
He's going at him.
Right. Jacob said to, I wonder at what distance. I wonder.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I would think so.
I'm thinking. Jacob said to Laban, "What is my offense? What is my sin?" And you got to pause, right? That you have hotly pursued me. Hotly. Kind of, I think, I'm going to guess that's a pretty poor translation. Hotly. I don't know. Anyway.
The NIV says that you hunt me down.
Hunt me down. Yeah. Hunt me down. Gary, what are you using?
Mine's New American Standard. It says hotly.
And what's yours?
Hunt me down.
But
NIV.
So that's idiomatic translation. Gary and I are using literal. And what are you using?
I was in ESV, but I'll jump to NLT. I usually.
Yeah. What is
Isn't
NLT?
it Passion Bible?
Yeah. What does the good news say?
What have I done wrong to make you chase after me as though I were a criminal?
Just kind of put it in plain language, right? All right. Verse 37, for you have felt through all my goods. What have you found of all your household goods? Set it here before my kinsmen and your kinsmen, that they may decide between us two. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried. Why did he say that?
Because it's on average in a kidding season or birthing season, the average is to lose 10% of those that are of births. I found that to be true, if not 15% at times, just because of nature, birth defects, all the things.
Was that suggested as another way of saying I never stole from you?
Yeah,
because you could have tried to cover it up and say.
Well, he goes on to say that. He said, and then he said, if an animal, so one that they never miscarried is I mean, that's nature in the hand of God. That
Right.
he never stole is the hand of Jacob.
But sometimes, my point is, sometimes you could blame missing
Oh, yeah.
sheep
Oh, yeah.
on miscarriages.
Yeah, and he goes on to say that wild animals would tear them apart. You haven't read it yet, but I love what he's about to say to that.
Yeah.
Like he keeps.
Yeah. Okay. And he finished the phrase, and I have not eaten the rams of your flocks. What was torn by wild beasts, I did not bring to you.
He said, I bore the loss myself.
I bore the loss of it
And
myself.
so, in other words, so we have what's called receps or replacement animals, and you're replacing those in the herd and so Jacob was taking out of his own herd and replacing at his own cost.
Okay. And this says, from my hand you required it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. There I was. By day, the heat consumed me, and the cold by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes. That happened to me last night. I was stuck in Houston. It canceled our flight. Anyway, verse 41, these 20 years I have been in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock. And enough is enough. That's my commentary. And you changed my wages. Here it comes again 10 times.
What I love is we can pretty much sum up Jacob and Laban's relationship in like these 8 verses right here.
Yeah.
Like you can tell the whole story in those 8 verses right there.
And it says, if the God of my father, the God of Abraham, so now we're getting the patriarchal, succession plan, and the fear of Isaac had not been on my side, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. Man, now that's just flat out accusation, right? Even though I'm the husband of your daughters, God saw my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night. So he's angry. He does the history lesson and yet says God is on his side.
The next sentence ties in all that went before. I'm back on Laban's character. The idea of repentance is that you finally see the error of your ways and admit it and change direction. And, there's plenty of evidence here that Laban had of God's work. I mean, the supernatural blessings of Jacob over and over and over. He got the striped sheep, he got, whatever. It was clear by the evidence that God was blessing. It was miraculous. And then God speaks to Laban, and no evidence of him ever changing his mind. No repentance. So the next statement is, yeah, I hear you, blah, blah, blah. It's still all mine.
I saw you right then on a church Wednesday night behind a pulpit teaching verse by verse, Gary, right then.
Wow.
That's perfect. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there is no repentance here. It's kind of like Saul. What's that noise I hear bleeding in the background? Yeah. I guess I'm on my Laban kick here today.
There you go.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So
you're kicking Laban.
Yeah, you're kicking Laban.
The better way to say that.
Kicking Laban tour.
Yeah.
Kicking him, elbowing him.
So to your point, Gary, 43 says, then Laban answered and said to Jacob, here's a response. The daughters are my daughters. The children are my children. The flocks are my flocks. And all that you see is mine. But what can I do this day for these my daughters or for their children whom they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I. Let me stop for a minute and just say something here that I think is important. I learned this a long time ago because I taught it in error. I thought this was a good thing when I read, let us make a covenant. But what I've learned that in this case, and many cases like it, it's actually a manifestation of distrust. So it was in this case, we would say contract. We would say agreement. As to, it's like when you get in that fight with your brother or 2 sisters get in that fight, they're sharing the same room and they put the tape down the middle. This is my side. This is your side. It says, and let it be a witness between you and me. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. And Jacob said to his kinsmen, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it, whatever he called it, Jagar Sahadutha. I don't know how to pronounce that.
That's pretty good. I'm impressed.
Okay. But Jacob called it Gilead. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. Therefore, he named it Gilead and Mizpah, for he said, and that's what a Mizpah is. And he said, the Lord watch between you and me when we are out of one another's sight. That kind of makes it a little clearer, doesn't it? It's not, and may God bless you 100 times over, blah, blah, blah. No, God's watching.
Yeah.
Right? If you oppress my daughters, or if you take wives besides my daughters, although no one is with us, see, God is witness between you and me. Then Laban said to Jacob, see this heap and the pillar, which I have set between you and me. This heap is a witness, and the pillar is a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to you, and you will not pass over this heap and this pillar to me. It's literally the tape down the middle of the room for harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac, and Jacob offered a sacrifice in the hill country and called his kinsmen to eat bread. They ate bread and spent the night in the hill country. Early in the morning, Laban arose and kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned home. Pastor Matt.
That was the phrase I was talking about.
Yeah.
He departed and returned home. That may be the best thing Laban ever did.
I was waiting.
The irony
Just go
that
home.
Laban finishes up
Leave.
here by pointing out to Jacob that God sees whatever he's doing. And I just think, how often do we, I don't want politicians, we try to use God's name, use it when it's convenient, and he is true to the end.
He is. So instead of, he doesn't even deny the charges. Instead, he pivots and goes right to the covenant making.
But is there some wisdom in drawing a hard line from the in-laws? Oh, that's another podcast. I mean, it's a heap of stones. You don't cross this and I won't cross that.
Trying to get
We
in
need-
trouble.
We need to do that in some pre and post-marriage counseling. Maybe. I'll leave that alone, though.
I can see where that can grow out of this, though, for sure.
In a way, boy, I'm Johnny One Note here on Laban.
Johnny One Note. I haven't heard that in a long time.
But, in a way, Laban knows that God has seen Jacob and protected him. And so here he's using Jacob's relationship with God to create a covenant that will protect himself. In other words, he knows that Jacob honors God, and he gets him to make a commitment, and he knows he'll keep his commitment. And why is he doing it? To protect himself from a guy who's aligned with God.
Why'd you wait till the end to tell all that? You could have started.
Yeah,
that.
isn't it the truth? I mean, everything in this is Laban is
It's gonna be
self-serving.
the truth
Everything,
clip right
100% of it.
It's the backhanded covenant.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go back. Gary says it. And you talked about that Mizpah. One of the commentaries says that because of that suspicion, the idea of Mizpah or watch, we're watching is really, if you do wrong, God will see it and he will punish you. In effect, the pillar of Mizpah meant, if you come over on my side on this line, the pact is void, and I will kill you. Like sometimes we'll rush past. Like
It's not a kissy.
I mean that
It's not a love
exactly.
letter.
So it's not this nice sentiment. I love how you pointed that out. I mean, it is we're drawing a hard line in the sand. And to Gary's point, I'm going to manipulate you with your own belief system so you don't cross it.
Wow.
And I mean, a lot of narcissism and evil and just not being God honoring in our relationships. And this is real for today in our world, in the way we lead our companies, the way that we lead our families. How many times are we manipulating them to not do something by using their own belief system or their faith or their, I mean, I've had
exhausting.
people, I've had people tell me, well, I know that I'm going to say this about you because I know you can't respond because of how you believe or, what the Bible says. So, it just gives them a chance to pick up a rock and throw it at me. And it's just an interesting dialogue here. And Laban was shrewd in that.
The relationship ends with some sort of outward dignity, but not restoration. And
agree to disagree.
At best, right? When we read the whole chapter together, and we know that these two tribes could have easily gone to war.
And I believe this is the last place we see.
I hope so.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
In case you were wondering how Gary felt about this.
Gary came in hot today.
Yeah, usually when you react this strongly, there's something underneath,
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had like a neighbor teenager that you want to name Laban or something.
Maybe there's some of this.
Were you bullied by somebody named Laban? Oh, man.
Judge not that you be not judged. I guess I better watch what I think.
Well, let's land this plane. Let's come up with maybe each of us share something that stuck out to you. I'll go first. I think, and this comes from my own wounds in leadership, but Jacob was not completely aware of what was really going on in his inner circle. And I'm referring to Rachel, and that has happened to me. Guilty of that. I don't know what the remedy is necessarily, but that stuck out to me.
I think for me, being a girl dad, having two girls, and thinking about the way that Rachel and Leah talked about how Laban had treated them as foreigners.
Yeah.
And I think that's
rough.
Interesting. I guess it doesn't tell us here if
as chattel even, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it tells us that Laban was intentional with that, if that was just, his character and that came across, but just that idea that, his daughters were aware of his character and the way that he was going about things. Him and his beef with Jacob were the main thing, but other people were affected by, his poor character.
Well, if you, I like what you picked out when you go back to the story of him doing the switch, and then his rationalization was kind of like, well, in our way, the eldest has to go first.
Try to justify it.
That's how he justified, even though he already given her hand, to him. Did he just assume that before that happened, Leah would get married? Who knows? Who cares? He's still, yeah. So, these girls were definitely wounded by, we talk about father wounds, those were legit father wounds. Even when you consider their culture is different than ours. Swapping one kid out for the other.
It's crazy.
Can you ever call that culture? I don't, that's just.
It's crazy. And they're obviously, hurt.
Yeah. When Gary takes his turn, we know it's going to be about Laban, but what's it going to
exactly? Just to keep you on your toes, mine
is
is not about Laban. It's about, it says God, I've seen what Laban has been doing to you, and this has gone on for years. Sometimes you just feel like God's not paying attention, doesn't know, and his ways are not my ways. And I just have to remind myself when I'm in the middle of what I think is injustice or whatever, he sees it and he knows. And the reverse is true. He knows when I'm doing stuff that doesn't make sense. And but it doesn't mean he always reacts. He has something bigger in mind. So patience, I guess.
It does have a calming effect just to know that and believe that.
Similar to what Gary just said, the phrase, multiple things, the saddle on the camel jumps out, but there's nothing there. But you
want to make something there.
I'm intrigued mainly. The phrase that God uses with Jacob and says, I am the God of Bethel. And that God reminded Jacob of a very special place where he met with him and he met with God.
The defining moment.
A defining moment. And in the midst of the chaos, I've lived it in my own life. in my family, in my leadership, and just my personal life of decisions, that when chaos takes over, it's good to be reminded of those defining moments. I can think of a particular case in my own life where I thought, why am I doing this? Felt like I was following what God wanted me to do. And God reminded me of a defining moment that led me. I'm in this place, and it feels like chaos, and there's a lot of things going on. But to what Gary said, God saw him. God was with him, and in the midst of it, we have patience. But also, I think one of the greatest things that brings patience for us is the reminders. The reminder that I am the God of Bethel. I am the place where we met. I am the place that I was true to you then. I'll be true to you now. I was faithful to you then. I'll be faithful to you now.
Good.
I've brought you this far. I'm not gonna. It feels like you may have left me, God, but I've not left you, and I'm gonna take you back to the land where you're gonna continue to flourish, and you're gonna flourish even more than you did here, and you're gonna see the reward greater than any of the trouble and the issue that you went through here. And why is that? Because I am the God of Bethel. That surely God is in this place. And it was I love the picture that reminder paints.
That's a great time together today, you guys. And for those of you listening, we just say God bless you, and God is closer than you realize. We'll see you in Genesis 32.
Thanks for spending part of your day with us on the Today Count Show. If today's conversation encouraged you, challenged you, or helped you grow, share it with someone in your circle, because we're better when we grow together. And be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with us on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And remember, real change doesn't happen someday. It happens today. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and keep making today